Councilmember Rick Laughridge. Maybe stand. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for the privilege that we have to assemble here once more. Thank you for your holy presence in the midst of all of us. We come here tonight asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we deliberate the business of our city. Help us in our decision making to utilize our best skills and judgment in accordance with the needs of our community and our fellow citizens. We pause now to ask a special blessing on our fellow council member, Tony Stewart, in the loss of his dear father. Our hearts, our compassion, and support is extended to him and his family in this time of bereavement. May God bless them, and our prayers will be continuously with them. We also pause, dear God, to ask your blessings on those whose lives have been torn apart by the destruction of Hurricane Florence. We join them in that as they experience the pain, devastation, and grief that affect their lives. Continue to bless them with your healing power as they strive to rebuild their lives. We give thanks to you for the outpouring of love, generosity, and caring for the people of our nation and our world. A special blessing, dear God, we ask upon our city, our citizens, and our employees as they strive to make our community a place where we can all live, love, and work together in peace. May all that we do here tonight and all the decisions that we make be acceptable in your sight and therefore a blessing to our community. In your name we pray, amen.
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 I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we begin the business of our meeting tonight, we have a special swearing-in ceremony from our fire department. At this time, I would like to ask Chief Bradford to come forward.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, council and staff, for allowing us to have a few minutes of your time to swear in a new firefighter. Jarrett. We have Jarrett King. He is a graduate of Belton Honeypath High School and the College Career Center in Williams. He obtained his Firefighter 2 certification. Jarrett started out with Honeypath Fire and EMS as a probationary volunteer. He went to work with Piedmont Fire Department and then came to work with us. Jarrett is also a member of the Army National Guard since 2017 and Turkish service. Jarrett, you come forward, please. If you will raise your right hand and repeat after me.
I, Jarrett King,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to do my duty
to do my duty
as an Anderson City firefighter
as an Anderson City firefighter
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
to serve my commanding officer
to serve my commanding officer
with compassion,
with compassion,
courage,
courage,
and integrity,
and integrity,
and to uphold the laws and the rules
to uphold the laws and the rules
and the regulations of the United States of America,
and the regulations of the United States of America,
the state of South Carolina,
the state of South Carolina,
and the city of Anderson.
and the city of Anderson.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
The minutes has already been distributed. Now, it's time out, like a motion for their approval.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Councilman Kyle, and second by Councilman Lott. All in favor? The minutes are now approved. We'll move on now to our old business. And this business has a request second reading of an ordinance 18-14 approving a project agreement and a credit agreement with project accommodation, authorizing the disposition of real property, consenting to placement of real property into multi-county industrial or business park, authorizing the execution and delivery of additional documents and other related matters. Mrs. Conley.
Thank you, Dr. Thompson. As you all heard recently, last month, when we had the joint city-county announcement, this project certainly is a tipping point for us. We all know that in order to be relevant and remain competitive in this changing economy, the city and the county must be forward-thinking, and we must be prepared. We're not just standing still. And the way that we do that certainly is by providing the right environment that buoys our existing businesses, residents, and visitors, and supporting and encouraging new investment and opportunities. A national franchise hotel with a minimum investment of $10 million certainly does help move us forward. So tonight's action, I know that was a mouthful to read as far as what it really entails. Tonight's action is second reading of the ordinance, and there are three parts to this. It has also three government entities that are involved in it. That's the City of Anderson, Anderson County, and Greenville County. Initially, in the past documents, the project was known as Project Accommodation, and the documents tonight will specify that the developer is Main at Market LLC. So the three parts to this ordinance are the ordinance itself, which establishes the authority for us to do the things that we're doing tonight. The second part is the development agreement. This is the primary document that is between the developer and the city, and this is what you all have in your packages as Exhibit A. The third piece is the infrastructure credit agreement, and this is what you've heard so often in county economic development. This is the fee in lieu of. That is the 75% for 15 years, and it represents a reduction in the property taxes in exchange for the public benefits that our community will derive. So I would remind you of this, that as we cover these documents, our premise is and has been to encourage development, to improve our tax base, to enhance the livability of the Anderson area. And the hotel development will directly and beneficially affect our economy within this estimated investment, as I mentioned, of more than $10 million. The project will serve the public interest due to the significant capital investment, the job creation, and the attraction of tourists. At this point, I'd like to turn it over to David to just remind all of us, and certainly for our viewing public and the citizens in our audience, to understand what the details of these documents are in layman's terms.
Thank you, Ms. McConnell, City Council. As you're aware, to place this specific project in a multi-county park requires our partners, Anderson County and Greenville County. So I'm going to give you a quick update where everybody is in the process. As you know, this is our final reading tonight, consenting to place it in the park along with agreeing to the infrastructure credit agreement as well. Anderson County did pass their ordinances to do so as well on September the 18th, so they're done. They've completed third reading and passed it, so it's moved forward. Greenville County is one step behind because they waited for us and Anderson County to go first before we pushed it on their agenda. So they have third reading scheduled for October the 16th, and they'll be the last one to finalize the adoption. They have full unanimous vote from their finance committee that was held, and of course, they've already passed their first and second reading, so that's just final third reading for them coming up. Just to give you an overview of what the development agreement states, as Mr. McConnell says, it is a minimum investment in the development agreement of $10 million. The actual investment that we're expecting is around $12 million plus, but you do put a minimum threshold in there because the benchmarks must be met to receive the incentives. It is a national brand hotel containing approximately 84 rooms. This has been derived by several changes. We've added additional retail on the first floor, which eliminated rooms. So all the first floor will be retail, meeting space, and the lobby. And also another revision was made that combined some rooms on the upper floors so that it created some suites. And the suites actually have Main Street frontage, so there'll be windows on Main Street for these rooms, and it's a very nice feature that was added. But because you combine some rooms there, it also reduced the number down, but certainly meets our goals and City Council's goals in the project. So with that, ends up with 84 total rooms. The agreement also has several different benchmarks as far as the construction timeline. The developer shall commence construction within 12 months following the effective date of the agreement. So once everybody's cleared out, we pass this, Greenville County's passed it, and we sign all the documents, they're to commence construction within 12 months. And then also another benchmark is the developer shall complete the facilities and open the facilities for business and occupancy on or before 24 months following the hotel construction date. So it keeps the project moving. They are full speed ahead, so don't expect any problems there. It also has a threshold, just as we have the $10 million threshold in there. It has a threshold that they must reserve approximately 2,700 square feet of retail space on the first floor with frontage on South Main Street. However, they have exceeded that in their project, and so it's about 2.5 times that size. But again, we put that as a minimum threshold in the agreement that's before you. The basis of the agreement incentive are this. The economic development agreement between the city and the developer is for $1.5 million. This will be paid over several project benchmarks. They are, upon approval by the city of the land disturbance and the grading permit, the city will pay out $375,000 to the developer. Upon the completion of the footers for the facility, we'll pay out $375,000. And then once the topping of the facilities is completed, again, $375 will be paid out to the developer. And then once the issuance of certificate of occupancy for the facility, it's another $375,000 for a total of $1.5 million. In addition, we do have the fee in lieu agreement, and that's the mechanism that placed in the multi-county industrial park and allowed us to provide us access to state incentives, countywide incentives, and so the agreement there is for 75% tax abatement for 15 years. The funding of the $1.5 million that's coming from the city will consist of this. $210,000 is what the city agreed to sell the property for. So $210,000 is included in the payout of the $1.5 million. So that leaves a remainder of 1.29 from the general fund to pay out. So $1,290,000 from the general fund. We did have this budget in our budget model that we went through during the spring in developing our budget. So it certainly meets our project goals here and our budget goals as well. It's important to note, though, that this project will bring in and generate additional and new ongoing revenue to the city, to include property taxes, state accommodation taxes, hospitality taxes, water, sewer, and stormwater revenue. So that'll be all new revenue coming into the city that currently we're receiving no revenue off the property. It's a tax-exempt property, we own it, and so now it's going to be in the private hands, and it'll be generating taxpayer dollars for us and expand our tax base. The development has an estimated annual economic impact of $11.6 million, and that's from the tourism, the stays, the folks that will be staying there and coming into the hotel, and it's based on their spending habits, and it meets some statewide benchmarks that we use in determining the economic impact analysis of $11.6 million. And the design considerations. The agreement has several things in there, and we've had several discussions as far as what you guys would like to see, certain benchmarks, certain goals met in the project. And so the agreement mentions that, and it mentions that, of course, it has to be approved by the Board of Architectural Review. So in summary, you have before you the ordinance that provides for the moving forward the development agreement and the infrastructure credit agreement, and that moves forward the action for you. Did you guys have any questions? I know that was a lot.
David, could you just speak briefly about the return on investment?
Yes, sir. With the Mr. Roberts is referring to is the return on investment that we look at anytime we have a project and what that project brings in as far as new dollars. And so through our calculations, and we were very conservative in our numbers, we do this for every project, is it has a payback period of right about 8 to 9 years. I really think it will be about 7 to 8 years, but within our conservative actual numbers that we've used from other similar hotels in our area, we have a payback period of 8 to 9 years. And so, so if you're looking at the payout of $1.5 million, that's saying that we'll have that money back in 8 to 9 years. But then on top of that, you have the economic impact of additional $11.6 million. So I would say that not only is it a great project providing incentive for, to have a new project on a place that's bringing in absolutely no taxes for us and not providing any economic impact to us, it's certainly a good deal for the city.
Also, I believe you told me that we need an annual growth of approximately 3% to keep our services at the same levels they are without increasing taxes.
Yes, sir.
This goes a long way in helping achieve that.
Yes, it does.
It does. It sure has, and we've seen that reflected, in our past 3 years of our financial reports. That we've seen that growth, our annexation growth, and the growth of our tax base continue to increase, and that's allowed us to actually reduce taxes. And when we reduce our millage down and continue to provide the services we're providing, but also enhance them.
Thank you.
We're open now for information from council members. Councilman Matt.
First off, I'd like to say thanks to our Economic Development Department, Ms. Spears, Ms. Thompson, and staff from the attorney to finance in working to moving this project along. I know it's a lot of moving parts, and great job on continuing pushing this down the field. I think it's a great investment for downtown. So with that, I'd like to make a motion and we approve this in second reading.
We have a motion by Councilman Harmon and a second by Councilman John Roberts.
Yes, ma'am.
All in favor? Any opposed? It's approved. So thank you so much. That's a lot of information, good information. As Matt has said, we're excited about the progress we're making. And as Councilman Jeff pointed out, what is the return on our investment? And down the road, we'll be real happy to have this done. So we are a growing city, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
And looking good. And we thank the staff for your hard work with that.
Thank you.
We'll go on now with a new business. And the new business has to do with request consideration of a referral to the Planning Commission, a petition to annex and zone to R5 single-family residential, 3.56 acres located at 1912 East Calhoun Street. Ms. McConnell.
Well, speaking of growth, this is one more opportunity to look at growth. This is the beginning of your public process when it comes to annexation and zoning. And this piece of property is proposing to construct the rezoning. Reason for the annexation and zoning would be to move forward with approximately 14 single-family houses. This currently is located between Cobblestone East and Cobblestone West, two existing subdivisions in the city, and the R5 zoning would require the lots to be a minimum of 5,000 square feet in size. So again, we don't know all of the details. This is the beginning of the process to allow public participation in that zoning process, and the Planning Commission will hear this request at their October the 2nd meeting. We would recommend your referral.
A motion?
I make a motion, we refer that to the Planning Commission.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Councilman Harmon, and seconded by Councilman Laughridge, that this will be referred. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, it passes. We move on now to administrative briefing. I believe we do have something special, a special announcement, or a special, someone wanted to
Yes, ma'am.
introduce.
Yes, ma'am. Before I do the calendar, I'd like to ask our Finance Director, Margot Martin, to introduce another member of our staff.
Hello, I would like to introduce Terry Martin. Just wave it to you from she is the accounting manager that has taken my old position, doing the enterprise fund accounting, water fund, sewer fund, stormwater fund, and the transit fund. She will be here on the October 8th council meeting in my place. I'll be at a conference, so I wanted to introduce her to you and let her get to know who you were before she had to come down here and sit under the lights. She is a retired finance director from School District 2, which is the Belton Honey Path area.
Is she here tonight?
She is. She waved. There she is.
Stand up. Let me see her.
I just appreciate the opportunity to work here. I've been here 2 months, but so far it's a great group of people. And
Yeah.
I'm looking forward
Welcome
to
to our
many
city.
more years.
We're glad to have you. Thank you.
Thank you.
A few items of note on our calendar. This week on Thursday, we have the concerned citizens of the East Side that meet at 5 p.m. at the District 5 Alternative School. And then moving into October, please mark your calendars for Tuesday, October the 2nd. That's our Fresh Taste event that happens in Carolina Wren Park and also in the Belt parking lot. And we're going to fill that whole space up with lots of farm and restaurant pairings, artisans, local folks who want to show what exciting things are available in our community. It is from 6 to 9 p.m. and you can find out more about that on our website. So we got local restaurants, musicians, farms, and artisans. It promises to be a good event to start our fall season with.
This is going to be in Wren Park.
Wren Park and the Belt parking lot. You know, this event has been so successful that we filled every venue that we've been located in, so we're kind of spilling out just a little bit this year. The following week, on Thursday the 11th, the Anderson County Municipal Association meeting will be held in Williamston. So that gets us started through the first 2 weeks of October. And
While you're on that.
yes, ma'am.
I attended the last meeting, which was in Pendleton.
Pendleton.
And the people there were really wanting to have our council members attend some of those meetings. You know, I think I was the only one there. And so we got a little slack on going to those meetings, I think. Because when I first came on council, we all went to all the meetings. So they're feeling a little bit left out that Anderson's council, which is the biggest city, that we sometimes need to recognize them by at least, I know it's hard to attend some of the meetings if we can.
Thank you, Dr. Thompson. That's all we have in regular session, and we do not
I
have...
did want to ask too
Yes, ma'am.
about our movie in the park. How is that going? How did the one,
Black Panther?
Yeah.
Y'all know how it was? It was very well attended. I don't have a count for you,
Yeah.
but it was, that was another sign of how our community has grown to the point where you can have so many activities happen on one day and still have a large turnout in all kinds of places, because that was Hannah and Westside played that evening, football, and the Black Panther movie in the park, so it was a lot of competition for people's time, but it was very well attended. We'll get you a head count so you know a little bit more about its success.
So we have several others scheduled, I guess.
We do, and then of course we'll be gearing up for holiday ice during the, hopefully when the weather gets a little cooler. That's all we have.
Okay. Any other remarks from our council members? Not, it's open for a motion for adjournment.
So moved. Second.
Okay, so moved by Councilman Kyle, second by Councilman Jim Roberts. All in favor? Meeting adjourned.
Thank you, ma'am. Great job.
Mayor Pro